If you're over 60, this one sweet, juicy habit could quietly raise your risk of a stroke overnight. With no warning, no symptoms, and no pain. You go to bed feeling perfectly fine and wake up with slurred speech, a limp arm, or trouble standing. As a brain doctor, I've seen far too many older adults blindsided by strokes, not caused by smoking, greasy fast food, or laziness, but by something they thought was healthy. Fruit. Yes, fruit. Millions of seniors eat it every day, believing it supports their heart, brain, and digestion. And while many fruits do help with healthy aging, a few can be dangerous, especially when eaten at the wrong time or in the wrong amount. Some fruits spike your blood sugar, others dehydrate your brain. A few even clash with common medications. And the scariest part? No one ever warns you. So today, I want to walk you through 9 common fruits that may be quietly raising your risk of stroke, memory decline, or even a brain bleed, especially if you're over 60. Ever wondered if your healthy habits might actually be working against you? If so, please keep watching. This could save your life. Before we dive in, make sure you've subscribed and turned on the bell so you never miss another health tip made especially for older adults like you. And if this video is helpful so far, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. I want to hear from you. Number 1, bananas, too much potassium, too fast. As a neurologist, I've treated strokes triggered by causes most people would never expect. But few things disturb me more than the silent risks hiding in our kitchens. And bananas are near the top of that list. You've heard it for years. Bananas are nature's perfect snack. Soft, easy to digest, packed with potassium. Great for your heart, right? Yes, for a 30-year-old. But after 60, your body changes, especially your kidneys, blood vessels, and how you handle minerals like potassium. Here's what you may not know. As we age, our kidneys slow down. They don't filter potassium as efficiently, especially if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, or take medications like ACE inhibitors or water pills. That means potassium from bananas can start building up in your blood. And when that happens, your heart rhythm goes off, your blood vessels tighten, and blood clots can form. And if that clot hits your brain, everything can shut down in seconds. I'll never forget one patient, Mr. Raymond, 66, retired carpenter, healthy, active, sharp-minded. Every morning he ate oatmeal with sliced banana and took his blood pressure meds with orange juice. But one morning, his wife found him collapsed. He couldn't move his left side, could barely speak. At the hospital, scans showed he'd suffered a small but devastating stroke. Blood tests revealed his potassium levels were dangerously high, interfering with his heart and triggering clot formation in the night. He had no idea 2 bananas a day, mixed with his medication, were tipping his body into dangerous territory. Here's what seniors are never told. You don't need much potassium, not from supplements, not from 2 bananas, especially not all at once. A single large banana contains over 450 milligrams of potassium, enough to cause issues if your kidneys aren't working at full strength. And if you eat that banana at night, when your circulation slows, you're slightly dehydrated, and your medication is still active, you create a perfect storm: stiff arteries, sticky blood, and a clot that may never give you a second chance. So, what should you do? If you're over 60, especially if you're on heart or blood pressure meds, limit yourself to half a banana per day, preferably in the morning, and always eat it with protein, like a spoon of Greek yogurt or a few almonds, to slow the absorption. Avoid banana smoothies, banana bread, and definitely skip them before bed. And most importantly, talk to your doctor about potassium-rich foods and your prescriptions. Your life may depend on it, because what was once healthy may no longer be safe. And if bananas surprised you, wait until you hear about grapes, those tiny sweet things that can skyrocket your blood sugar, damage brain vessels, and silently fuel inflammation. What I'll share next might change the way you snack forever. If you're still with me and finding this helpful, comment one below so I know you're here. Now let's move on to number 2, grapes, sugar bomb in a tiny package. 2. Grapes, the sugar bomb that hides in plain sight. They feel as innocent as a breeze on a spring day. Grapes show up everywhere, on the fruit platter, in your cereal bowl, or passed around after Sunday lunch with the grandkids. But what if I told you that for someone over 60, especially those with hidden vascular issues or unstable blood sugar, grapes could quietly trigger a stroke? It's easy to forget. Grapes are pure, concentrated sugar wrapped in a delicate skin. They may look harmless, but just one handful, especially the seedless, extra sweet varieties, delivers a surge of glucose and fructose straight into your bloodstream. And for aging brains and delicate arteries, that sugar spike doesn't just fade, it leaves damage behind. Here's why. As we age, our ability to regulate blood sugar weakens, the pancreas slows down, insulin response gets sluggish, and our blood vessels, especially the tiny ones feeding the brain, become thinner, more fragile. When sugar floods the system too quickly, it inflames the walls of those vessels. They begin to stiffen, narrow, and sometimes tear microscopically, creating the perfect trap for blood clots. You won't feel it. You won't see it in a routine checkup. But silently, the stage is being set for a mini stroke, or worse. Let me tell you about Mrs. Jeanette Morris, 80 years old, a retired school teacher from Missouri. She avoided soda, refused processed snacks, always ate natural. Her favorite morning habit? A generous bowl of red grapes while reading the paper. Sometimes 2 cups, without even thinking. Then one morning, while writing a birthday card, she noticed her vision blurring. Her hand trembled. She couldn't remember how to spell congratulations. Her daughter rushed her to the ER. And yes, it was a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke. A clot had temporarily blocked blood flow to the left side of her brain. Her blood sugar showed midday spikes. Her A1C had crept into the pre-diabetic range, something she never suspected. But even more revealing was the chronic low-grade inflammation in her vascular system, likely worsened by years of sugary fruit snacks without protein or fiber to buffer them. Here's the key lesson. Even healthy foods can turn harmful without the right context. At 60 and beyond, it's not just what you eat, it's when you eat it and what you pair it with. Grapes digest fast. They send sugar surging through your bloodstream, and if you eat them on an empty stomach or when dehydrated or stressed, your body reacts. Blood thickens, vessels tighten, and clotting becomes more likely. You won't feel it that day, but night after night, week after week, the damage builds until one moment it all breaks. So here's what I tell my older patients. Never eat grapes on an empty stomach. Never eat them by the bowlful. Pair them with protein, like a few almonds or a slice of cheese. Keep portions small, just a handful, and only during active hours. And if you're diabetic or on blood pressure meds, skip them entirely unless your doctor clears them, because what looks like a harmless snack can quietly rob you of your memory, your balance, even your independence. And speaking of sweet and dangerous, 3. Pineapple, the acid and sugar combo that can hurt while you sleep. There's something about pineapple that feels like sunshine in a bite. Sweet, tangy, tropical. Many of my older patients enjoy it as a guilt-free dessert, especially after dinner. It seems light, natural, even healthy. But here's what they don't realize, and what worries me deeply as a neurologist. Pineapple can be risky for the aging brain, especially when eaten late in the day. Let me explain. Pineapple contains bromelain, a natural enzyme that breaks down protein. In small amounts, it may help digestion, but in excess, especially when combined with certain medications, bromelain can disrupt blood clotting, reduce platelet function, and create bleeding or clotting risks that are unpredictable. That's not all. Pineapple is also high in natural sugar, over 16 grams per cup, and has a high glycemic index, meaning it causes a fast, sharp rise in blood glucose. When eaten late in the day, that sugar isn't used for energy. It circulates in your blood overnight, stressing fragile blood vessels while your body sleeps. But here's the most overlooked danger: acid. Pineapple is one of the most acidic fruits we eat. In seniors, that acid can silently irritate the esophagus, trigger no symptom reflux, and lead to microaspiration during sleep. That disrupts oxygen flow to the brain, a known trigger for early morning strokes, which tend to be the most deadly. Let me tell you about Mrs. Clara Hughes, 77, a retired choir director from North Carolina. She was active, mentally sharp, and dedicated to clean eating. No cake, no ice cream. Her treat? A few slices of fresh pineapple every night after dinner. For over a year, it was her ritual. Until one morning, she woke up confused, disoriented, and slurring her speech. A CT scan confirmed a posterior circulation stroke, affecting her balance and language. Her labs showed high blood sugar, signs of silent reflux, and platelet irregularities. The likely cause? Not just the pineapple, but the perfect storm of bromelain interfering with clotting. Sugar spikes during sleep, acid-triggered nighttime reflux. It was a fruit she trusted, but it nearly stole her voice and her freedom. Clara's story is not rare.
As we age, digestion slows, vessels thin, and sleep becomes more fragile. When you combine that with acidic, sugary fruit late at night, you risk blood vessel constriction during rest, the exact moment when the brain is most vulnerable. So, what should you do? If you love pineapple, eat it early in the day. Keep portions small. Never eat it on an empty stomach. And avoid mixing it with blood thinning meds unless your doctor gives you the green light. Because even sunshine in a bite can turn dark under the wrong conditions. And most importantly, never eat pineapple before bed. At this stage of life, your brain needs stability, not surprises, while you sleep. Because yes, even a fruit can quietly tip the balance toward danger. But if pineapple shocked you, wait until you hear the truth about watermelon, a fruit celebrated for its hydration benefits. What most people don't realize is that under certain conditions, it might be silently drying out your brain and lowering your blood pressure to the point where a stroke or sudden collapse becomes possible. Let's talk about how something so watery can become so dangerous. If you're still with me and finding these insights helpful, please comment one below so I know you're here. Now let's continue with point number 4. For watermelon, not always hydrating. Pure fruits feel more wholesome than watermelon. Cold slices on a summer afternoon, seed spitting contests with the grandkids, or that refreshing crunch after gardening under the sun. It's nostalgic, it's sweet, it seems healthy, and yes, watermelon is full of water. But here's the truth most seniors never hear. For older adults, especially those with circulatory problems, low blood pressure, or on diuretics or heart medications, watermelon can actually be a hidden danger. Not because of its sugar, not because of acidity, but because of what it removes from your body. As a brain doctor, I've grown deeply concerned about how often seniors unknowingly trigger stroke risks with foods they believe are helping. And watermelon is one of the most common misconceptions. Here's why. Watermelon has diuretic properties, meaning it encourages your body to urinate more frequently. For a 25-year-old, no problem. But for someone in their 70s or 80s, especially someone on water pills or ACE inhibitors, that extra urination can cause overnight dehydration, one of the most dangerous and silent stroke triggers. Think of it this way. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker, more like syrup than water. And when that thicker blood flows through already narrow, aging vessels, it slows down. That sluggish flow gives clots more time to form, and the brain, which is extremely sensitive to changes in oxygen, becomes more vulnerable to sudden blockages. This risk skyrockets at night when blood pressure naturally dips and hydration levels fall even further. Let me share the story of Mr. Howard Larkin, 82, a retired postal worker from Indiana. He walked daily, avoided junk food, watched his sugar, and in the evenings, to cool down and stay hydrated, he'd eat 2 or 3 large slices of watermelon. But here's what he didn't realize. He was also on a diuretic for mild heart failure. Between the medication and the water pulling effect of the watermelon, his body was shedding too much fluid, especially at night. One morning, Howard woke up dizzy. When he stood, he collapsed. At the hospital, doctors found his blood pressure dangerously low and his blood thick with concentrated hemoglobin, a sign of dehydration. Scans confirmed a small ischemic stroke caused by a clot that likely formed while he slept. The very fruit he believed was hydrating him was quietly drying him out. Howard survived, but his balance and coordination were never the same. He now uses a cane and needs daily help around the house. And this was a man who, just a week earlier, had been mowing his own lawn. I don't share his story to scare you. I share it because so many older adults simply don't realize. Healthy foods can turn dangerous when you mix in age, medication, and timing. Watermelon, eaten late in the day, especially after taking medications that lower fluid volume, creates a perfect storm. Thickened blood, lowered blood pressure, slowed circulation. Those 3 conditions make clot formation far more likely, and that clot can strike without a sound. So, what should you do? If you enjoy watermelon, enjoy it wisely. Eat it earlier in the day. Pair it with electrolytes, like a pinch of salt or a few ounces of coconut water. If you're on diuretics or heart meds, talk to your doctor before making it a daily snack. And most importantly, listen to your body. Morning dizziness, dry mouth overnight, waking up confused or disoriented. These are not just senior moments. They are early warning signs, whispers from your body that something deeper is off. Because even a fruit that's 90% water can become a silent thief of brain health. And you won't feel it until it's too late. If that surprised you, wait until we talk about a fruit practically marketed as the face of healthy breakfast, the classic American orange. Inside that bright citrus peel is a hidden chemical that may be interfering with your heart and brain medications and quietly setting the stage for something much more dangerous than most people imagine. 5. Oranges, the citrus that can hijack your medication. Oranges, they've long been a symbol of health. A glass of fresh squeezed juice at breakfast, a bright bowl of slices on a table, or a sweet surprise tucked into a holiday stocking. They're natural, they're full of vitamin C, they feel like the perfect way to start the day. But for older adults, especially those on heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol medications, orange can quietly become a chemical landmine. Because it's not just the sugar in that glass of juice that spikes your blood glucose. It's a natural compound found in citrus fruits called furanocoumarin. Most seniors have never heard of it, but this compound can interfere with your liver's ability to process medication, which means your body might hold on to too much of the drug, leading to toxicity, or flush it out too quickly, making it ineffective. And that kind of interaction can quietly create dangerous conditions in your bloodstream, unstable circulation, unpredictable clotting, or arterial constriction, all without a single warning sign. I'll never forget Mr. Elmer Bryant, 79, a retired bus driver from Georgia. He was kind, cheerful, and proud of living a healthy lifestyle. He took his medications faithfully, a statin for cholesterol and amlodipine for blood pressure, and every morning, like clockwork, he drank a tall glass of freshly squeezed orange juice, his sunshine in a glass, as he called it. But what Elmer didn't know was this. The furanocoumarin in that orange juice was blocking his liver from breaking down his medications. His blood pressure medicine was accumulating in his bloodstream, intensifying its effects. Meanwhile, the statin was building up in his muscles and vessels, quietly increasing inflammation. Then one morning, after days of feeling dizzy, Elmer stood up from his recliner and collapsed. At the ER, he had slurred speech and confusion. A scan revealed a mild ischemic stroke, and blood tests showed dangerously elevated drug levels, not because he took too much, but because his liver couldn't clear the normal doses. His blood had become unstable, a clot formed and lodged itself in a narrowed artery in his brain. When I explained this to him and his wife, they were stunned. All my life, I thought orange juice was good for me, he said. And it was once. But what works at 40 doesn't always work at 70 or 80, especially when your liver slows down and your medicine cabinet grows. That's why I urge every senior to treat citrus with caution. It's not just grapefruit, which is well known for drug interactions. Even Sevilla oranges, navel oranges, and some citrus juices can disrupt how your body handles medication. So, what should you do? Eat oranges sparingly. Avoid drinking full glasses of juice, especially in the morning when your medication is most active. Use a splash of juice in water, not as a standalone drink. Choose lower risk options like clementines in small amounts. And always talk to your doctor if you're on prescriptions that could interact. Because it's not just what's in your pill bottle that matters, it's what's in your fruit bowl. One small, well meaning habit repeated daily could quietly push your brain toward catastrophe. But knowledge is power, and just by adjusting how and when you consume citrus, you can dramatically reduce your risk. 6. Apples. The surprise sugar trap. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's what we've been told since childhood. Crisp, juicy, convenient. Apples are everywhere. Hospitals serve them, grandkids pack them in your lunch. They feel safe. But for older adults, especially those with diabetes, blood pressure issues, or early memory loss, apples might not be as innocent as they appear. Not all apples are the same. In fact, some of the most popular American varieties like Fuji, Honeycrisp, and Gala have been bred for one thing: sweetness. These apples have a high glycemic load, meaning they flood your bloodstream with sugar faster than your aging body can manage. And if you eat them alone, especially without protein or fat to slow the digestion, that sugar spike can quickly turn dangerous. Here's what happens. Your blood sugar surges, insulin spikes, blood vessels tighten, inflammation builds, and the blood becomes more acidic and sticky. Over time, this damages the fragile lining of your arteries, including those that lead to the brain. Tiny micro tears form, and your body, trying to repair the damage, forms clots. In younger bodies, that's manageable. But in aging vessels that are already narrow and stiff, those clots can become ticking time bombs. One of my patients, Mrs. Louise Hammond, 81, from Pennsylvania, believed she was doing everything right. She walked every day, took her medication, ate clean. Her daily afternoon snack? A large Honeycrisp apple. No chips, no cookies, just fruit. But what she didn't realize was that she was insulin resistant. That single apple, eaten without protein or fiber, was creating massive blood sugar swings every day. Soon she began noticing blurry vision and pressure in her head at night. Then one evening, while preparing dinner, she suddenly couldn't speak clearly. At the hospital, imaging revealed a minor stroke. Her blood test showed unstable glucose levels and signs of inflammation in her vascular system. The cause, not her medication, but her daily apple eaten the wrong way. Louise recovered, but she now sees apples differently, not as an enemy, but as something to treat with awareness. So here's what I tell all my senior patients. Choose lower sugar apples like Granny Smith. Always pair apples with protein or healthy fat like a slice of cheese or a spoonful of almond butter. Never eat a sweet apple on an empty stomach, especially not in the evening, because your brain doesn't need sugar roller coasters. It needs stable fuel and gentle circulation. Even a fruit as wholesome as an apple can, under the surface, create the perfect conditions for a stroke. 7. Cherries, a hidden source of blood thinners. Cherries, small, beautiful, and bursting with color. They're praised for inflammation relief, joint pain, heart health. You'll find them in wellness magazines, senior supplements, and even added to yogurt or salads. But for those on blood thinners, cherries come with a quiet risk few people ever mention. Cherries contain salicylates, a natural blood thinning compound similar to aspirin. Now, for some people, that's helpful. But for older adults already on medications like warfarin, Plavix, or even a daily aspirin, that extra thinning can push your blood past the safe zone. The result? Blood that won't clot when it should, fragile vessels that start to leak, and in the worst cases, a hemorrhagic stroke, a brain bleed. Let me tell you about Mr. Daniel Rhodes, 84, a retired train conductor from Illinois. Years earlier, he'd had a mild heart attack. He was placed on a low-dose aspirin, a statin, and a blood pressure medication. He was careful with his health, and every night after dinner, he'd enjoy a bowl of cherries. Nature's dessert, he'd call them. He wanted to stay active for his great-grandkids. At first, there were no warning signs. But then he started experiencing headaches, dizziness, nausea. One morning, he woke up vomiting and disoriented. His wife rushed him to the hospital. A CT scan revealed the truth: a hemorrhagic stroke, a brain bleed, not from trauma, not from high blood pressure, but from blood that had become too thin to clot. His medication doses were correct. His vitals had been stable, but the compounding effect of cherries plus blood thinners had quietly pushed his body over the edge. That's the terrifying part. You feel fine until you don't. And once a bleed starts in the brain, it's hard to stop. Recovery is uncertain. Some lose speech, others mobility, some don't wake up at all. So what's the takeaway? If you love cherries, limit the portion to a small handful. Never eat them daily if you're on blood thinners. And talk to your doctor before making cherries a regular part of your diet. Because healthy isn't one size fits all, especially after 60. Your body changes, your medications interact, and what used to help might now harm. Many older adults never fully recover after a stroke. They lose their balance, their independence, sometimes even their ability to speak. And what breaks my heart is this: many of these events were preventable. What I wish every senior understood is simple but critical. Even healthy foods can become dangerous when combined with prescription medication in the aging body. Your body at 70 does not process food the way it did at 40. What once helped you recover now has the potential to tip you into crisis, especially if you're on blood thinners. Take cherries, for example. Yes, they fight inflammation. Yes, they're rich in antioxidants, but they also contain salicylates, natural compounds that thin the blood, much like aspirin. If you're already taking blood thinning medication, that daily bowl of cherries could quietly push your body past its safety threshold. So please enjoy them mindfully. A few now and then are likely fine, but avoid cherry concentrate, juice, or large daily portions, especially if you're on medications that affect clotting. And always talk to your doctor before making any fruit a regular part of your diet. Because the smallest thing, a seemingly innocent fruit, can quietly overwhelm an aging system already working overtime to stay in balance. And when blood gets too thin, it doesn't just leak, it surges. And it leaves damage behind. The cherries aren't the only surprise. Let's talk about a fruit that's celebrated in health circles, but may be quietly harming your brain: strawberries. 8. Strawberries, mold, pesticides, and gout triggers. Strawberries look innocent: bright red, heart-shaped, sweet with a touch of tartness. You'll find them in smoothies, hospital trays, and brunches across senior communities. They look like hell, but the truth for older adults is far less sweet. Strawberries consistently top the Dirty Dozen list, a ranking of produce with the highest pesticide residues, even after washing. And this matters more as we age because our detox systems slow down. What the body used to flush out easily, it now stores, including pesticides that can accumulate in the brain, damaging blood vessels and disrupting neurological function. Many of these pesticides are neurotoxic. They increase oxidative stress, weaken vessel walls, and set the stage for silent inflammation that can lead to stroke and memory loss, especially in the brain's white matter, the area most vulnerable to microclots and mini strokes. And there's more. Strawberries also contain purines, compounds that break down into uric acid. For seniors with gout, kidney issues, or vascular inflammation, high uric acid triggers inflammation, raises blood pressure, and encourages blood clot formation. Let me tell you about Mrs. Elaine Carter, age 80 from Michigan. She loved strawberries, picked them fresh, froze them for smoothies, and ate a bowl after dinner every night. She had mild high blood pressure, joint pain, and took a water pill, nothing alarming. But over time, she began feeling dizzy in the mornings, her hands swelled. Then one day, she woke up with numbness in her right hand and slurred speech. A CT scan showed a minor ischemic stroke. Her labs revealed high uric acid, oxidative stress, and low-grade inflammation. Her healthy habit meant to protect her had slowly overloaded her system. Yes, a blood clot had formed, and no, her body couldn't clear it in time. Elaine survived, but she now lives with memory gaps and nerve damage in her hand.
And she told me through tears, I thought I was doing everything right. That's why context matters. Even superfoods can turn toxic in the wrong body at the wrong time under the wrong conditions. So what should you do? Always buy organic strawberries. Wash thoroughly. Don't eat them every day. Avoid store-bought smoothies made with bulk frozen berries. And if you have gout, kidney issues, or take blood pressure meds, talk to your doctor first. Because pesticides don't just sit on the surface. They build up silently, slowly, until one day a clot takes your speech, your balance, or your independence. And if strawberries surprised you, wait until we talk about a fruit that feels exotic, indulgent, and heart healthy, but may be quietly disrupting your medication and triggering early morning strokes. 9. Mango, sugar spikes, and medication interference. Mango feels like a treat, a reward. Soft, sweet, fragrant, a tropical escape on your plate. You'll find it in fruit salads, senior center smoothies, and even in dried snack packs sold as healthy alternatives. But mango is far from harmless for older adults, especially those managing heart conditions or taking multiple medications. Just 1 cup of ripe mango contains over 45 grams of natural sugar, more than a donut. And unlike complex carbs, this sugar is rapidly absorbed, spiking blood sugar and triggering insulin surges. For seniors with type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, or unstable blood pressure, this spike and crash cycle stresses the blood vessels, particularly in the brain. It creates inflammation. Tiny cracks form in vessel walls. In the body's natural response, it sends in clotting agents to patch the damage. In stiffened or narrowed arteries, those clots don't dissolve easily. They stick, they block, and that's how strokes happen, silently, while you sleep or stand. But sugar isn't the only concern. Mango contains a natural compound called mangoferrin, which can interfere with your liver's ability to process medication, especially those used for blood pressure, cholesterol, and heart rhythm. So that means it slows down the cytochrome P450 enzyme system, meaning your medications don't break down properly. They build up in the bloodstream, increasing the risk of overdose, erratic blood pressure, and heart rhythm problems. Let me tell you about Mr. William Booker, 83, a retired firefighter from Nevada. He took walks daily, ate healthy, and switched from cookies to dried mango, thinking it was a smart choice. But he was also on medication for high blood pressure and atrial fibrillation. After a few weeks of snacking on dried mango, he began feeling lightheaded in the mornings. Then one morning, he collapsed while getting out of bed. His wife found him pale, confused, with a drooping face. He had suffered a mild stroke. His blood pressure had dropped too low overnight. Lab tests showed elevated drug levels, even though he had taken the correct dosage. The culprit, his daily mango habit, which was overloading his liver and destabilizing his blood pressure. The sugar was the trigger. The medication buildup was the match. He survived, but his coordination and short-term memory were never the same. So here's what I tell my patients. If you truly love mango, limit it to a few bites only. Always pair it with protein or fat like nuts or yogurt to slow sugar absorption. Never eat it at night, especially before bed. And talk to your doctor before eating it regularly if you're on heart or blood pressure medications, because your margin for error shrinks with age. And what seemed harmless in your 30s may now carry serious consequences, even if it's just a fruit. After everything we've discussed, 9 fruits that seem healthy but may quietly raise your risk of stroke, you might be wondering what's left to enjoy. What can you eat that protects your brain, supports your heart, and still brings joy to your plate? Don't worry. This final section isn't about fear, it's about wisdom. You don't need pills, powders, or exotic ingredients. You just need simple food and a new understanding of how your body has changed. Let's talk about foods that heal, not harm. Choices that honor your age, protect your independence, and keep your mind sharp. Final reflection: the truth about fruit, aging, and protecting your brain. All your life, you've heard that fruit is nature's medicine. And it can be, but past age 60, the rules change. Your liver slows, your kidneys don't filter as quickly, your blood vessels are more fragile, and your brain, your most delicate organ, becomes more sensitive to blood sugar spikes, medication buildup, and circulation dips. That's why even something simple, a banana with your pills, grapes after dinner, or orange juice in the morning, can quietly set off a dangerous chain of events. As a brain doctor, I've seen it firsthand. Patients who woke up fine ended the day unable to speak, walk, or recognize their loved ones, all because of one tiny clot in one wrong place. And many of these tragedies could have been prevented, not with more medicine, but with better awareness. So, what should you eat instead? Not all fruit is harmful. In fact, the right ones, eaten the right way, can be your greatest allies. 1. Berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, low in sugar, high in antioxidants and polyphenols that reduce inflammation and protect blood vessels. They support memory and don't interfere with medications. 2. Green apples, like Granny Smith, lower in sugar than Fuji or Honeycrisp, and high in brain protective flavonoids. Eat with almond butter or a slice of cheese to stabilize blood sugar. 3. Avocados. Yes, they're fruit, rich in healthy fats, potassium, and fiber that support nerve function and steady blood pressure, without sugar. For a week, lemons and limes. Use as flavor boosters, not snacks. They help with digestion, support liver function, and don't disturb your medications. 5. Pomegranates, in moderation. A few ounces of diluted juice can help fight inflammation, but use caution, especially if you're on heart or blood pressure meds. And here's the key: timing matters. Eat fruit early in the day, not before bed. Never eat fruit on an empty stomach. Always pair with protein or fat to slow absorption and avoid sugar spikes. Late night fruits, skip it. At night, your circulation slows. A sugar surge then can do real harm while you sleep unaware. Let me be clear. This is not about restriction, it's about respect. Respect for the body that's carried you through so many chapters. Respect for your new reality. You are not fragile, but you are different. And that means it's time to treat your food choices with the same wisdom you've earned through life experience. You've survived challenges, you've adapted, you've grown. Don't let a daily habit, a piece of fruit you've trusted for years, become the silent thief of your health. Every bite can protect your brain or push it toward risk. So pause, reflect, think before you snack. Read the labels, ask your doctor, and most of all, listen to your body. Because at this stage of life, you're not just eating to live, you're eating to stay sharp, to stay steady, and to stay you. With the right fruit, the right timing, and the right awareness, you absolutely can protect your future, starting with what's on your plate. If this video helped you see things differently, please comment one below to let me know you're still here with me. If not, feel free to comment 0. Your feedback truly matters. And if you'd like to help someone else on this journey, share this video, like, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful, brain-safe health content. Thank you for watching. Here's to protecting your brain, your balance, and your independence, one wise choice at a time.